Benito Mussolini was born on July 29, 1883, in the small town of Predappio, Italy. He was the son of a blacksmith and a teacher. His family was poor, but they valued education. Mussolini's father, a socialist, influenced him at a young age. Mussolini attended school and showed an interest in learning. As a boy, he was known to be smart, though also a bit rebellious. He loved to read and study history, which would later help him understand how to rise to power. When Mussolini was older, he decided to become a teacher. But soon, he left his teaching job and started to work as a journalist. He used writing to express his political views. He was especially interested in socialism. At the time, Italy was facing many social problems, and Mussolini wanted to help solve them. Socialism was a popular movement in Italy, and Mussolini was drawn to it because it promised a fair society for workers and poor people. However, as Mussolini grew older, his views began to change. He became more radical. He started to think that the ideas of socialism were not enough. He felt that Italy needed a strong government and a leader who could make decisions quickly and without opposition. Mussolini believed that Italy needed to be powerful and respected by other countries. He rejected the idea of democracy and wanted to build a strong, united Italy with a powerful government and military. In 1919, Mussolini formed a new political group called the Fascists. The group was different from other political parties in Italy at the time. They believed that the country needed to be strong, organized, and disciplined. Mussolini's fascists wanted to create a society where everyone worked together for the good of the country. They thought that Italy had lost its greatness and that it was time to restore its power. They focused on national pride and military strength. Many Italians were unhappy with the government, and Mussolini's ideas began to attract a large following. In the early 1920s, Mussolini's fascist party grew in strength. He promised that he would bring order to the country, which was struggling after World War I. Many people in Italy were upset about the economic problems and political instability. Mussolini's promises to restore Italy to greatness appealed to many people, especially those who felt that Italy was not respected on the world stage. In 1922, Mussolini and his followers decided to take action. They planned a march on Rome. Mussolini's supporters, known as Blackshirts, marched to the capital city to show their power and demand that Mussolini be made the leader of Italy. At that time, the Italian government was weak, and the King of Italy, King Victor Emmanuel III, was unsure what to do. He feared that violence might break out if he did not act. The king decided to appoint Mussolini as Prime Minister of Italy, rather than face a potential civil war. Mussolini's rise to power happened quickly and without a fight. Once in power, Mussolini worked hard to consolidate his control. He changed Italy's government to be more like a dictatorship. He abolished political parties and silenced anyone who spoke out against him. Mussolini controlled the newspapers and used them to spread his ideas. He created laws that gave him more power and took away the freedoms of the Italian people. Mussolini was no longer just the prime minister. He became the dictator of Italy. His power was almost absolute, and he ruled with the support of the army and the police. Mussolini wanted to make Italy a great empire. He believed that Italy should be powerful and feared by other countries. He started to build up the military and prepare for war. Mussolini also looked to expand Italy's territory. He believed that Italy needed more land to be truly powerful. In 1935, Mussolini decided to invade Ethiopia, a country in Africa. He wanted to show the world that Italy was strong. The invasion was brutal, and many people in Ethiopia died as a result. The international community condemned Italy's actions, but Mussolini did not care. He believed that Italy's empire needed to grow. During this time, Mussolini also became closer to Adolf Hitler, the leader of Nazi Germany. The two dictators shared similar ideas about power and control. They both wanted to expand their territories and create strong empires. In 1939, Mussolini and Hitler formed an alliance called the Pact of Steel. This alliance meant that Italy and Germany would support each other if war broke out. Mussolini believed that Italy would benefit from this relationship and that the two countries could help each other become more powerful. In 1940, Mussolini decided to join World War II on the side of Germany. He believed that the war would help Italy gain more land and become a stronger country. However, Italy was not as strong as Germany, and the country quickly began to suffer from the war. The Italian people became tired of fighting, and many soldiers were not willing to continue the war. The economy was also badly affected. Mussolini's promises of a stronger Italy were not being fulfilled. By 1943, things had gone badly for Italy. The country was losing the war, and many Italians were no longer loyal to Mussolini. The government that Mussolini had created was falling apart. The Italian army was not winning battles, and many people were unhappy with the way Mussolini was leading the country. In July 1943, Mussolini was removed from power. He was arrested and taken to a prison in northern Italy. However, Mussolini's story was not over. In September 1943, German soldiers rescued him from prison and took him to the north of Italy. There, Mussolini formed a new government, but it was controlled by Germany. This government, called the Italian Social Republic, was very weak. Mussolini no longer had much power. The Italian people did not support him, and many were fighting against the German occupation of Italy. Mussolini's government was seen as a puppet of Nazi Germany. In 1945, as World War II was coming to an end, Mussolini tried to escape to Switzerland. He hoped to avoid being caught by the Allied forces and the Italian resistance fighters. However, Mussolini was captured by Italian partisans before he could escape. He was brought to a small town in northern Italy. There, Mussolini was executed along with his mistress, Clara Petacci. The Italian resistance fighters killed them both. Their bodies were then taken to Milan, where they were hung in a public square for everyone to see. Mussolini's death marked the end of his rule over Italy. His rise to power and his fall from it left a lasting impact on the country. Mussolini had promised to make Italy great again, but in the end, his actions led to war, suffering, and defeat. His time as Italy's leader serves as a reminder of the dangers of dictatorship and the importance of democracy. Mussolini's story is a warning about the dangers of one person having too much power and control over a country. Today, many people study his life to understand how leaders can rise to power and how their decisions can affect the lives of millions of people. Although Mussolini is remembered for his role in history, his legacy is marked by the pain and suffering that his rule caused. Italy, after the end of World War II, worked to rebuild its government and its economy. Mussolini's story is not one of success, but rather a lesson in the dangers of dictatorship and the importance of having a government that listens to the people. Through the mistakes of the past, Italy and the world have learned the importance of freedom, democracy, and the rights of every person.